So I figured it was time that we do a cost analysis on just exactly how much we have put into this little venture, okay? So in this cost analysis, it's just I'm going to try to be very basic with what you need, because what you need really isn't a lot. As far as like enclosures, boxes, you know, whatever it is that you decide to use as a home. Now, one thing to consider that in this is growth, because their growth is significant and exponential and quick. So, you know, you want to, when you're choosing their enclosures, you want to try to choose something that you can either keep very warm in one specific place, so you can control the temperature in that one place very well, to expand, or you know, maybe let them roam in you know, more of the same area, or have small boxes that you can size up. Our Russian chicken nesting boxes. That's what we have chosen to do, is just to kind of gradually move them up. This method also requires more lamps, okay? So the boxes that I got were plastic. I had them on hand. I would say that you could probably pick them up. The big box, I'm pretty sure that one was probably like 30 bucks. The other plastic one was probably like 15 to 20. So if you're just getting one box, you can probably get one that will house your babes for, we'll say $30, just to be on the median range. Now, also, I went with 12, with my final hope of being 10. And it's a little addictive, so I think I'm probably going to end up with about 15 total, for now. But you don't need to get that many. You can just get, like, you know, 4, 3. I wouldn't recommend getting 1 or 2. They, like I said, they are very social. I don't know that one would do well. They seem to have a little bit of separation anxiety, like when I'm cleaning out their enclosures and I'm picking them out one by one. The first one in the box by themselves peeps like their life is ending. The last one in the box, when I get them all out, is peeping like their life is ending. So they cry a little bit when they have to be by themselves. So I would never recommend just getting one. 2 would probably be sufficient, but I would get 3 or 4, just because they do seem to really like to have a flock, more than 2. Anyway, so the box, you don't need an elaborate setup for 4 chickens. You know, the recommended space that I've read, fully grown, is 1 foot by 1 foot per chicken. That's for like their indoor enclosure. If you want to keep them inside, then they need to have at least that much space. That doesn't seem like a lot. So you know, they can survive in a smaller area, especially when they're tiny. The next expense that we had that I mentioned were the lamps. You can get the lamp for, I think the ones I got were like, it was like $8 for the big metal hood. It's the big ones. Now I do have some of the littler ones that are for more like a reptile tank, but the heat that those put off is very directed. It doesn't spread like a nice cone of heat like these bulbs that we got with this. And that's the other thing. The bulb is separate, and I do believe that those were $4. They come in red and white, so you can go with either one. I went with the red just because I think that's easier for them at night, so that it is kind of like a day-night cycle, and we have natural light that comes in, gives them a bit of a daytime feel. So we've got the boxes, we've got the lamp, and we've got the bulbs. We have the bedding that you have to get. I was able to get a giant cube of bedding for $5. Don't use cedar. That I did read that pine is what they recommend. I've also read and heard that people use like the reusable puppy pads, newspaper, anything like that you know, can be thrown away. I change their boxes out very frequently, because hygiene is important for these guys, that they will eat their own poop. And so if there's more poop, there's more opportunity for them to eat their own poop, and I do think that that can cause issues. So I try to keep it clean. I have had them for 2 weeks, and I went through a $5 thing of bedding. That bedding, I used a little bit too much at the beginning, so I could say that you could probably get by with bedding for just buying bedding every 3 weeks. The other thing are the feeders and the waterers. So your feeders, if you have 4 chicks, let's say, we're going to use that as the standard. We're going to use the 4 chick standard. If you have about 4 chicks, I would say you could get by with 1 feeder and 1 waterer for that many. The feeder, I think, was, again, about $7 or $8. We'll say 8 just to be safe. And the water dish, I use one of my dog's old water dishes. They make the ones that screw on to keep them from pooing in it, I think, and to to make it less likely for things to get in there, but things still get in there, and they drink fine out of a regular water dish. So we're just going to say $2 on that. A fancy water dish like the one with the screw top that holds like, I don't know, half a gallon or something, it's probably $5. So we'll say $2 to $5 on the water thing. And then you have the food itself, right? The food I got was a 50-pound bag for $20, and that was the medicated or non-medicated. They were both the same price. Actually, the non-medicated may have been just a little bit cheaper. And then they sell it in smaller bags, but if you're going to get 4 chicks, you're going to have to feed them the starter food for 18 weeks. 18 weeks. So you got to remember that the maintenance items that you're going to have to worry about are going to be the bedding and the food. Those 2 things you're going to have to worry about. Those are the items that are going to have to be replenished. You could probably get by with bedding once a month if you only had 4 chicks. I would say that would probably be sufficient. The food, I went through. I throw the dust away. When I change out their bedding, I kind of shake their food up, and I do that throughout the day too. And if there's a lot of poo or a lot of bedding or a lot of dust in the bottom of it, I throw it out. So I go through a lot of food, maybe more than I should, I don't know, but I do it to be safe. So you could probably get by. 10 pounds lasted me about 10 days. So if you buy a 50-pound bag, you can probably get by with buying food every 6 weeks. So the bedding once a month, the food every 6 weeks. Again, the bedding will probably increase because they will poo more as they get bigger, and the food as well. They will probably eat more as they get bigger. So you'll have that in there as well. The other expense are the chicks themselves. The chicks that I got, the general price for the chicks that were there, they were all sexed, so they were $3.50 per chick was the median price, $3.49. There were some that were $5.49, so that was your range. Now they did have the difference. I think these were a little more expensive because these were all female. They had one bin that was what they call a straight run, which means that they're not sexed. They could be male, female, you get roosters, it's hard to say. And those are cheaper. I think those were maybe like $2.99 or maybe $2.49, but they didn't have very many of them. And I didn't even look at those, to be honest with you. I just kind of glanced at them. But these are like 90% guaranteed to be female, so they're a little more expensive. I got a mix of these 2 costs, and I did get 12. But so if you're just getting 4, you see if you go with the $3.50 over here, you're looking at 14 bucks. So $15 for the baby chickens total for 4 chicks to keep you occupied and to have some friends to keep you together. So I think I've got everything here. I don't see anything that's glaring that I've forgotten. So if we look here, we've got 30 and then 8 and 38 and then 42 and then we'll say 37, 45, we'll go with that, make it 50, and then we'll say 70, and then the 15. So 85 bucks to get this all started, right? $85, we'll say, about, if you want to do 4 chicks, you can get started for $85. Now, this cost is a one-time just to get started. So you do have to keep in mind that you are going to have to buy you're going to have to buy more food, and you're going to have to buy more bedding for the next 18 weeks. So if you look at that, you're probably going to have a rolling cost per month of about 25 bucks. $25 a month. Now, the other thing too, if you're in my situation, this is just startup cost and maintenance fee until they hit the 18 weeks, until they're let out to be the free chicks that they were meant to be. Once that happens, we're looking at cost to create an enclosure for them where they can be outside. I do know people that keep chickens as pets. I know people that keep them inside. I know people that just buy like the large dog kennels, which I have used for these guys, and they just keep them inside. They just keep their enclosures clean, their pets, and they, you know, treat them just like they would, you know, a bird, like a parrot. So that is possible too. So you got to plan for the future with this. If you're going to have more than 4, I would think you would probably want to go with an outside option. They do smell significantly, and you really have to be on top of it. I mean, I don't know if it would be, I guess it is a little worse than a cat's litter box, because you do probably have to do it a little more often, and they don't cover their poo, so they're a bit more indiscriminate about where they poo. They don't really have a thought process about that, I don't think. So yeah, they're probably a little higher maintenance than a dog, or I'm sorry, a cat, as far as the litter thing would go. But yeah, so I'm thinking like 85 bucks you can get started, and then $25 rolling maintenance fee after that, per month. Again, the food would probably increase a little bit, so that 25 might go to 30, but it's a very insignificant thing. And then if you think you have 4 chicks, if they're all female and they're laying once every other day, that's at least 2 eggs a day. So that's like a dozen eggs a week. So that's saving you, like right now, $7 if you're where I'm at, $7 or $8. So about break even. And then you also have a nice little antidepressant that doesn't cause any other kind of side effects other than, you know, care. So I think it's a pretty sound cost investment. You know, I can't see anything wrong with it. Sorry about my chicken scratch. Oh, maybe that's why we get along so well. All right. See you later.